The Figure class as you've described is responsible for reading ASCII art from a file named ASCII art.txt and displaying it on the console. This part here that's highlighted, static void display ASCII art. This is a static method, meaning it can be called directly on the Figure class without needing to create an instance of the class. This part here that's highlighted now, this line reads that the entire content of the file ASCII art.txt into a string variable named ASCII art. It uses the file read all text method from the system IO namespace. Console write line that's highlighted now, this line prints the content on the ASCII art string on the console, effectively displaying the ASCII art. Next, we move on to the main class. The class program just declares the name class, name program. In C#, the program class often serves as the entry point for the main application. This part which I've highlighted now, static task, this is the main method of the program. This highlighted now, play greeting, this line calls a method to play a greeting sound. The next line underneath that, display ASCII art, this line calls a method to display ASCII art on the console. The console write line, this line displays the message on the console, the welcome message on the console. And the string username, console read line, this line reads the user input from the console and stores it in the username variable. This console write line, this prints a personalized greeting to the user including their name. The while true here, this starts an infinite loop which will continue to run until broken. Console write line underneath the one that was previously highlighted, this line displays a message to the user suggesting topics they can ask about. And the one underneath that, console write line, this line reads the user's inputs from the console and stores it in the user input variable. Response to users. If the user didn't enter exit, the line calls a method to process the user's input and provide a response. Using system. This line imports the line system namespace, which provides access to fundamental classes and base types in C#. Using system media. This line imports the system media namespace, which provides classes for playing sound files. The public class voice. This declares a public class named voice. The public key word means that the class can be accessed from other parts of the program. Public static void play greeting. This declares a public static method named play greeting. Public means the method can be accessed from other classes. The static means the method belongs to the class itself. Void indicates that the method doesn't return any value. The try catch. This try catch block uses the error handling. The code inside the try block is executed, and if exemption occurs, the code inside the catch block is executed. Using sound player equals new sound player greeting wav. This line here. This creates sound player objects to play the sound file. The using statement ensures that the sound player object is properly disposed of when the block of code is finished, when if an exemption occurs. Sound player equals new sound player greeting wav. Payload loads the audio file into the sound player. This is important to ensure sound is ready to play. Player play sync plays the audio file, synchronize the console write line, error playing greeting with the e-message. This line prints an error message over the console if an exemption occurs while trying to play the sound. The error message includes a specific exemption message. This is the final class, the user class. What's highlighted now? Static void response to user string input. This defines a static method named respond to user that takes a string input as an argument and doesn't return any value. The static keyword means you can call this method directly to the class. Input equals to lower input, the line that's highlighted now. This line converts the input string to lowercase. This makes the subsequent checks case insensitive, so the user can type password, or password. These are all spelled differently with capital letters or small letters and get the same response. This line highlighted now, if string is null or white space input. This checks if the input string is null, empty, or consists of only white spaces. This here, the console write line. If the input is blank or white space, this line prints a message indicating that the input was not understood. The message printed is I didn't quite understand that. Could you ask something else? Return underneath that. If the input is blank, this line exits the method, preventing further processing. Underneath that, coded here, switch true. This is a switch statement that uses true as a switch expression. This might seem unusual, but it is a way to use switch statement as more structured if-else chain. Each case evaluates a Boolean expression. The first case that evaluates to true will have the code block evicted. This next part, case bool when input contains password. This case checks the input contains the password. The bool is a discard. It's the because the switch statement requires a value to switch on, but the value itself isn't used. The important part, when input contains password. If the input contains password, this line prints advice about using a strong password. Just like how I explained this whole part here does a similar thing as what I've just explained. This part here that says default. This is the default case which is executed if none of the other case conditions are met. The last line, the console write line. This line prints a message indicating the input was not understood and suggests topics to the user can ask about. The message it prints is I did not quite understand that. Could you rephrase or ask about password safety, phishing, or safe browsing?